So if you're currently dating or planning to get married to a guy below your tax bracket, that is a guy who is not up to your financial status, maybe he doesn't have a job or maybe he lost his job, but you love this guy and you really want to marry him, I have a few questions you really need to ask yourself and a few things you need to consider before you venture into it. Is that something you like to learn? Then keep on watching. Hey Queens, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Uchechi Cynthia and I help single ladies to find a man, keep the man by having a healthy relationship and move that relationship towards marriage. There are ladies who really would want to marry below the tax brackets. There are ladies who do not have a choice but to marry a man whose financial status is not up to theirs. So before you do that, or even if you're already in it, there are a few things you need to think about, a few things you need to consider, and a few questions you must ask yourself. The first thing is that bills will show up. Bills, they will surely show up. And bills is not a respecter of love or feelings. So who's going to be footing the bills? That's a question you should ask. The answer is obvious, yes, you are going to be footing the bills. But the next question now is, can you foot the bills for as long as it takes? Because he may not get a job immediately, or he may never get a job. So are you ready to foot the bills for as long as it takes? Ask yourself that question. It's a very hard question, and do not lie, do not paint it, do not sugarcoat it. Ask yourself that question and get answers. Are you willing to foot the bills for as long as it takes? Rent, clothing, feeding, other utility bills, they are going to show up. And if you've answered this question, the second thing you need to ask yourself is, can your current salary or earnings sustain the both of you in the meantime? You need to think about that. You need to answer that question. Something else you also need to consider is the man's ego. Men have, according to them, say men have a fragile ego or something close to that. You need to consider the man's ego. Society has programmed the man to be the provider. And when he is not doing that, when he's not fully functioning in that provider role, sometimes their ego could be hurt. You're always going to be walking on eggshells if he has an ego problem. You will do one thing and be like, is it because you're paying the bill? You know, so you'll be walking on eggshells. You'll not be free to share. If he has an ego problem, you'll not be free to share your wins. You will not also be free to function fully as you. He may have an ego problem, and that itself could pose as a threat to the relationship or to the marriage. Then you're also going to consider family and friends. Your family may kick against it, even your friends. Some will laugh, some will talk, some will gossip. You also need to put that into consideration. Something else I would like you to consider and ask yourself is, would you be willing to respect him even if you are the provider, even if you are the breadwinner of the family? Are you still going to respect him? Why? It will get to a stage where disrespect will start to enter. We are humans, we have flaws. So to get to a stage where disrespect will start to enter the entire thing. Another thing you should ask yourself is, are you willing to see him the same way and maintain the same energy, especially when the honeymoon phase is over? There's a slang called sea finish in Nigeria, where when the honeymoon phase is over and the both of you have gotten to that point where you feel there's nothing to be hidden anymore, it's called the sea finish stage. The next question you also want to ask yourself is, if and when kids come, can you carry the financial weight? You need to ask that, because if kids come, that will be an extra burden. I will call it burden in quote. That would be an extra burden on your source of income. Diapers, clothing, feeding, extra bills. So can you carry that load when it comes? And even if you decide not to have kids, there's going to be societal pressure. Why people not having kids? This one, that one, kiniko. So put all these things into consideration and answer the questions with a clear head. Don't let love blind your eye. If you can deal, then go ahead. His predicament may just be temporary. If you discerned, if you have this conviction in your spirit that his predicament is just temporary, and you know that he's hardworking, and you know that he's going to put in the effort to pick up from where he stopped, then yes, you can go ahead. But bear in mind, it's not going to be an easy load on your finances and on your mental health. So think about these things, consider them, ask yourself the hard questions, and then go ahead if you feel that's okay to go ahead with. And then if you need to talk, book a session with me and let us go through these things together. Okay? I hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.